Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So this is part 2 of a video that I did last week where I was highlighting the most important skills that you have to master as a nursing student for you to become a competent and effective registered nurse. So in this video, I'll be covering the rest of the tips that I didn't cover in the video last week. If you haven't seen that video, I would suggest that you go watch that video. There's so many gems that I shared in that video. So without wasting much time, let us get into the video. Not everyone can be a teacher, but everyone has to teach. As a nursing professional, we are constantly going to be teaching others about how to take care of their health. Whether you're teaching your patients and their families how medication is taken, what type of treatment plan they're on, and the pros and cons of each of those treatment plans, how to do dressings, how to check their sugars, etc. In addition, we're also going to have to teach our co-workers on certain skills that we might be better suited at or we understand better than someone else. And in some cases, we're also going to have to teach nursing students on how to perform certain tasks. As a result, you're going to need to master the skill of explaining to someone else why certain things are done a certain way, how to do certain things, etc. That is why when you're studying, it's important for you to teach yourself the information that you're studying, because the more you teach it to yourself and to others, the better you're able to understand the information, and also the better you are at explaining that information to someone else. So, and in nursing school, that is why we have group presentations where you have to teach others the certain topic that you've researched on and to make sure that they understand what you're trying to teach them. That is why we also have simulation labs where you're practicing with someone else how to do a skill and you guys mark each other. So it is a very useful skill that you can learn for yourself when you're studying, etc. But it will also help you in the long run, able to teach other people how to do certain things, because you might not be a teacher, but you're going to have to guide someone else on how to do something. Research is the backbone of evidence-based practice in nursing. You need to stay up to date with the latest nursing studies and best practices to provide the highest level of care. Policies and regulations greatly affect nurses, from how you're allowed to administer medication to patient privacy laws. Understanding these policies ensures you're practicing within legal and ethical guidelines. Therefore, being aware of these policies keeps you compliant with regulations and helps protect both you and your patients. In nursing school, you'll be tasked with writing research papers, learning how to critically evaluate medical studies, and applying findings to clinical practice. You need to be up to date with policies, legislation, competencies, and don't wait for others to tell you. Take an interest for yourself. And the last skills that you need to learn is time management and multitasking. In a 12-hour shift, there's an unlimited list of activities that we need to go through and we need to finish. And we need to be able to know how to prioritize these tasks so that the most important things get done first, and as the day ends, you continue and you complete the rest of the non-significant items that we have to do. And as nurses, there's a bad lot of things that we have to do, from administering medications, doing wound care, paperwork that we have to complete, doctor's rounds, teaching the students, teaching your other co-workers, attending in-service trainings. There's so many things that we have to do, and it has to be accomplished in the 12 hours that we're at work. Yes, nursing is a 24-hour job. Unfortunately, the other shift doesn't always appreciate you handing over work that they must complete at the beginning of their shift. So it's important for you to be the nice colleague, to be able to complete your work in the 12 hours that you have. So you need to be able to work fast, effectively, and to make sure that everything is done. And you also need to be able to multitask, because you're not always going to be focused on just giving medication, then you need to move to the next thing. Sometimes you have to give medication, you need to educate your patient, you need to make sure that your patients are not falling all within a space of 2 minutes. And there's actually a funny TikTok that I saw. Here it is.
I'm willing to argue with anyone in the comments because I have the time today. No other job has more side quests than the job of a nurse. And I'd be like, oh, what, another healthcare worker, and then my job in business or my 9 to 5. What? Okay. Imagine this. You get to work at 6:59 because why would you get there a minute earlier? You're not getting paid for that. And immediately someone goes, hey, are you Eunice? I'm ready to get a report. And you're like, okay, so you grab a pen and a paper. And on your paper, you're doing an assessment, right? Head to toe. So you want neuro, cardiac, lung, GIGU, skin, IV, and then past medical and the reason why they're here, right? And you usually like to write like N, put a heart, like lung, so that way you can like organize your paper, but they just start talking, right? Because they don't have time for that shit. So you're like, whatever. So you're like writing out all this information about 5 different people, mind you. Okay, so like 15 minutes goes by, you're jumbled up, you don't know which patient's which patient, and you're like, all right. At the end of the report, they're like, oh, by the way, in room 2 you have to draw blood, and then in room 5 they need to do IV. So you're like, okay, let me do that. Let me start with the blood draw because that's probably important. So then you go to the blood draw, but then the secretary's like, Eunice, over the loudspeaker, and you're like, what? So then you come out the room and they're like, oh, you have a phone call. So then you go to the phone call and you go to the doctor, and the doctor's like, hey, did you do labs? And you're like, no, I was about to do them. They're like, okay, great. Like, can you do them ASAP? And you're like, yeah, I'm about to do them. And then you hang up the phone. So you're walking to go do the blood. And then you're about to do the blood, and then you notice in your cart, it's empty. You don't have the materials. So then you're like, fuck. So then you go to the storage closet and you grab the materials. When you grab the materials, your coworker sees you and like, hey, can you help me with a turn? You're like, of course, because I would never say no to a coworker. So then you go to the coworker's room, you help with a turn, boom, shit in the bed. So now you have to clean the shit. And you're just like, okay, let's get the supplies. Boom, boom, boom. So now you're on a side quest. You clean the shit, boom. You're back to drawing blood. You draw the blood. You go to the printer to print the label. Label machine's not working. Now you're like, fuck. So you need to go to another room, print the label, put the label on, send. Boom. That's task number 1 for the day. The shit doesn't even count because I wasn't even your patient.
And unfortunately, that is the reality of nursing. We have to do so many things at the same time. And in nursing school, we literally have to do this 24/7. You know you're in class, but at the back of your mind, you have a project that you need to complete. You also need to think, what kind of food am I eating tonight? Or I need to meet up with my friends. Or this is event that I have to go. Or my lecturer is now talking about a project that is in the future that I now have to focus on. Or at the same time, oh, I've got skills like after this. Or I need to do this project before I go to skills. There's a million things that we constantly have to think about in nursing school, while you're also in clinical rotations, while you're also trying to have a life, while you're also trying to have social life and that sort of thing. So you need to be able to manage all of these things at the same time. In nursing school, unfortunately, the level of multitasking that we have to be, it's at a level 100. So you need to be able to practice the skills so that you become better at it. So there you have it. These are the most important skills that I believe you need to learn or you need to master as a nursing student, with some examples of how it is tested in a nursing school perspective and why it's important for you to master these skills. At the end of the day, the training that you're going under, whether that's 1 year, 3 years, or 4 years, is for you to become a competent nurse. And yes, there is the clinical competencies that you have to fulfill, but there's also the other interpersonal skills that you have to fulfill. So you can comment down below and let me know which skill are you currently trying to master. And if you learned something from this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed and you want to know everything to do with nursing school, university life, and international student experiences and beyond as you start your new professional journey. So until next week, Friday, 12 p.m. South African time, have an awesome one. Bye guys.